How is it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Invictus Racing League on the PC, of course, for Season 1. My name is Jakob, taking you guys through the comms as always, as I would every single week. To everyone that's already tuning in, thank you very much. To everyone that's also been with us for the majority of the season, also thank you very much. I can tell you now that this season has been a very it's been a very interesting season. I must admit, when I first started doing comms for it, it was a little bit dull. It was mainly just sort of Scope and Skyzy at the top, and I just thought that those two were just going to absolutely run away from it. As of late, it's been very interesting at the top. Even though it is still mainly Scope and Skyzy, they have there's been a lot of other people that have been getting themselves up there, and I mean, I will just I mean, you can just see it on the standings right now, as you can see. Scope, he's on 120 points, a 25-point gap ahead of his teammate. Reason being, because of that incident that happened on the last lap last week with Skyzy, he has been disqualified from that race. So now, Scope, 25 points ahead, and is able to win the championship here tonight as well. But I will get onto that a little bit later on. Matty, because of Skyzy's DSQ even, Matty then moves up into third place. So Matty goes moved up to third at Hungary last week. Podium Cheetah is still in fourth in the standings. Unfortunately, he DNF'd last week and isn't actually here tonight, unfortunately. But I mean, sorry, I also forgot to touch on that. Matty's 74 points now as well. And also another thing I forgot to touch on is with Skyzy getting that disqualification because of that incident he had with his teammate last week. It also means he has gotten himself a race ban for this week as well. So I mean, in all honesty, it's really over if Scope does manage to finish where he needs to finish, really. But again, I'll touch on that a little bit later on in the live stream with you guys as well. But moving in to Yos being fifth place at the moment as well. In sixth place is Mr. Dre Geo. In seventh is who is it? Rashid Kasim, sorry, who unfortunately has retired from the league as well. So unfortunately, there's not going to be any more that he is going to be doing. In eighth is Farnham. At the moment on 23 points. In ninth is Typhoon with 20, tied with Mercked, who's only actually just joined the league 2 races ago. He got himself that second place last week because of Skyzy's DSQ. So Mercked, he jumps himself up into 10th already, which is a very good result from him. Mags is into 11th on 15 points. In 12th is MJ Coop. Unfortunate DNF from him. He's had a bit of a dry spout so far throughout these last few races, so hopefully he's looking to make it up for Right, apologies for that, guys. I'm not too sure what exactly happened there. For some reason, my Streamlabs had just all of a sudden randomly closed as I was going through the standings. So, my apologies about that. I'll start again from 10th place of Mercked on 20 points. Mags is in 11th with 15 points. MJ Coop in 14th with in 12th with 14 points. Bit of a dry spell he's gone on as of recent, so hopefully he's looking to improve on that come later on in the season. Ruben is in 13th with 13 points. Unfortunate DNF for him last week as well. Gaudio in 14th, picking himself up 3 points last week as well. He's tied with Ruben on 13 points as well. So those two having a little bit of their battle going on there. Fashion is in 15th with 11 points. Jamie Ryan and Biofreak, who have both retired from the league, on 10 points. Of course, 16th and 17th. Kenners in 18th. He actually got a very good result last week. picking himself up 4th position, of course, after Skyzy's DSQ. SK Fast, unfortunately, DNF in last week, but he is in 19th in the standings. He's got himself 5 points, of course, for the Racing Point guys. Lacray is in 20th on 4 points for the Williams. He picked himself up another 2 points last week, so it was a good result from him. Crayon in the Mercedes, unfortunately, did not start last week, and I don't believe he's actually here tonight either. I'll have a double check once we get in. Mr. Stim didn't start again last week as well, and then of course you've got Hardcore and Bolland who have also left the league. And then over to the constructors standings as well, so you guys get an idea of who is where. Scope and Skyzy, of course, they've already taken the constructors. That's that all over and done with for them. Matty and Mags are in 2nd in the constructors, and it's looking more and more likely that they're going to finish that 2nd place in that constructors. However, the battle for 3rd place in the constructors is where it really is heating up. You've got Ruben and Kenners in the Ferrari, Podium Cheetah and Crayon in the Mercedes, obviously Yoss, MJ Coupe, Farnham and Typhoon, and Dre Geo, because Biofreak has unfortunately left the league. All of those guys are battling for that 3rd place in the Constructors' Championship. At the moment, Ferraris are the ones with the advantage on 58 points, Mercedes 52 points, Red Bull 48 points, Alfa Romeo 45, and the AlphaTauris on 38. In 8th place is the Williams of Lacare and Merckx. They're on 25 points, the same in the McLarens of Fashion and Gaudio. They're on 24. Again, another bit of a battle going on between those guys there for that 8th place in the constructors. And of course, unfortunately, at the bottom are the 2 Racing Points of Plop and SK Fast, but they did manage to pick themselves up their first set of points in Spa. Now, this is what I'm on about. This is something that's going to be very, very interesting for the race. So like I said earlier, Skyzy is unfortunately not racing tonight. So this is what we are left with. This permutation here of Scope being able to claim the Drivers' Championship because of his disqualification last week. There is a chance that he is going to win the Constructors, win the Championship tonight. All he has to do is score 7 points. So that's just finishing 4th or better, or finishing 5th and the fastest lap. Now with Scope's pace around, well, just in any track in general, you know how quick he can be. So I'm expecting Scope to take this title tonight. I don't think there's going to be anywhere that he isn't going to be able to do it. So yeah, as I said, if Scope does finish in 4th or better, then he will take that Drivers' Championship. Of course, also finishing 5th with the fastest lap. Again, he will also take that Drivers' Championship. As I said, it's highly likely that Scope is more than likely going to be doing that tonight. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this race is going to pan out. It is Baku. It's a long, tight, twisty circuit. Some people usually call it the Temple of Speed. I would say it's called something else. However, I don't think the the admins of Invictus are going to like exactly what I say about it. So I am just going to keep my mouth shut with that one. But we are going to get into what the race is looking like, or the qualifying is looking like so far. Of course, we are already nearly 9 minutes into qualifying, and for some reason I've got some sort of sound glitch. There we go. So that is now been resolved. Typhoon, we are just riding on board with. I don't know if he's on a lap. It doesn't look as if he is. So Typhoon not currently on a lap. He's just, I think, on a bit of an in lap. However, we have got a few other people that are due to be going on laps very, very shortly. So we'll keep our eye out on those guys as well. I think Merckx is one of them that is currently starting a lap. So we'll ride on board with the Williams driver. And I'll actually, in fact, I'll shut up. I'm going to let you guys just go for a lap around the Azerbaijan circuit. So I thought I'd stop it early because here we go. Malc up to the line and he goes onto pole position, a 38.3. Watching throughout that lap, just how smooth he was just taking, even through the castle section. You could just see how confident and how smooth he was going through there. And I feel like that's going to be the difference of who's going to be on pole and who's going to be down in maybe second or even third place come the end of the qualifying. I'm going to ride on board with the Dutchman of Mr. Jos Heinze, I think I've said that right, as in fact he's going into the pit, so he's not actually finishing his lap, unfortunately. Let's just see, who else have we currently got on a lap that's coming close up to the line? I believe Ruben isn't. It's actually Kenners who's making his way up towards the line. I'm just seeing, is he on a lap? Because he did just downshift. No, he's not. So no lap time for Kenners. Dragio is on an out lap. I believe Fashion is just behind him. No, it's not. It's actually Gaudio finishing a lap, and he goes into P4 at 39.2 for the Italian. So good lap from Gaudio. Putting it in the P4. I know him and Lacquerate are actually really good in going around in one lap style, shall I say. So we'll keep an eye on them for when it comes to the end of qualifying. Crown just starting a lap, as Fashion is also just starting a lap. So those guys are going to be doing what they are doing. MJ Coupe is 7/10 up on his time, so he must have really messed it up. In fact, I can see he's got front right end plate damage, but I don't think that's going to stop him. I think he is going to carry on this lap up towards the line. What's the break going to do? It's a 41.0. He does move up, I believe, into P11. I think he was 13th, but yeah, he's moved up into P11. So a good lap from MJ, and I know he's going to want to try and improve on that later on in qualifying. But SK Fast up to the line, goes into P3. I was about to say Typhoon as well, I think was just coming up towards the line, but he has gone into the pits. Kenners, no, it is Ruben, sorry. Has unfortunately invalidated, so he's gone straight into the pits, so no lap time from him. So the next one I'm going to go on board with then is Mr. Dre Geo. He is currently 5/10 up on his time. It's going to put him ahead of MJ Coupe, potentially even around the likes of Ruben and Typhoon. There's massive gaps through the field so far, and I'm really surprised about those gaps that are currently through the field, but well, I guess we'll keep our eye out and see who's going to be where. But Dre Geo up to the line into 11th. So he only did go up just to one place. He did take that place back from MJ Coupe, as he does go back into P11. Of course, he's going to get here fresh start of tyre, whichever set of tyres he wants for a fresh start, because he is currently starting outside the top 10. As MJ Coupe has actually binned it and has retired from the session. I'm going to go on board with SK because he's just coming past where he's binned it. Ooh! Lightning reactions from SK to avoid that. And I don't know if he was up on his time. If he was up on his time, then it was very, very unfortunate for him. But wow, what lightning reactions to avoid him hitting the back of MJ Coupe from there. Oh. I think SK might be having a bit of a Code Brown moment from that, because wow, that was close. That was extremely close. Very well avoided from him. Matty, I believe, is currently on a lap. He is just making his way through all the 90-degree right-handers and left-handers in Sector 1, as he's actually a 10th.5 down on his time. A 39.2 was his first lap. Very, very good lap from him, and I believe this actually might be his final lap, unless he may come into the pits at the end of this lap. But if not, then it is going to be his final lap. There's a lot of guys now just out on laps trying to get their way through to start their laps. As Crayon, not too sure what happened with him there. He's just sort of sat at an apex. But we've got Scope, who's just starting his lap. Typhoon, I believe, is just starting his lap as well. You've also got Fashion, who I think is either going to come across the line or is just starting his lap as well. Malc, I think that is also just behind Ruben, who's Malc is ahead of Ruben. That's just about to start his lap. But Matty, he's the one that's currently on a lap. DRS is now wide open for the Hats as he goes into the pits. So yeah, he's going to be going into the pits. putting on a fresh set of softs so he can get one more run out of all of this. So let's have a look. It's actually Lacarate. My apologies. So Lacarate starting his lap now. So that means the next person we're going to see come across the line to finish his lap is going to be our current championship leader, who can win it tonight. It is Scopefielder, and he is currently 2 tenths up on his time. So we're right on board with the Renault. He's got very, very close to the far right part of the castle section, where Mr. Charles Leclerc has called himself stupid there multiple times. But Scope making his way downhill, the definitely left bump of the track, as I feel like that's probably we're going to see a lot of people potentially get themselves some wing damage for tonight. That or at the castle section is usually the place to do it. But Scope now just down what is, if it was a straight, it would probably be the longest straight on the F1 calendar, but of course they've still got to have themselves some corners to it. But Scope goes into the pits, so there's not going to be an improvement from the Swede. So Scope, the best he is going to get is P2, so he preserves his tyres just that little bit longer, as Fashion has binned it. So no improvement for the McLaren, as I'm just trying to get on board with, I think it's Gaudio, as he's just coming up towards the line. He's on an out lap, so no lap from him. As Ruben, behind his teammate and behind Lacarate, just coming up to the line. Lacarate goes into the pits. Ruben, he's going to be starting another lap now, so a 39.8, which was invalid. Did he carry that on as like a proper lap? It does look as if it is, and he didn't save his ERS, so it's going to be tight for him. Lacarate has retired from the session, as well as Jos puts it into P5, a 139.2. He's just knocked down the McLaren of Gaudio, so no, that's going to be the best that the Dutchman, I believe, is going to do, unless he is going for yet another lap. As Ruben a little bit of oversteering into the wall, breaking his front wing. Very unfortunate for him. So Ruben, unfortunate for him what's happened, but Malc improving on his time. A 138.1 goes the Williams driver, and wow, what a time that is, especially over the one that's leading the championship. 0.6 of a second ahead of him. The only other person that can really sort of beat him is going to be the Racing Point of SK, as there is a Mercedes that's actually binned it in the castle section, and I think a Ferrari's been caught up in that as well. Is that Kenner's or is that Ruben? It's Ruben, but Kenner's has also spun. So it's all going wrong for everybody's final lap, as I think they're just pushing it a bit too much to the point where they're actually literally hitting the walls. As Typhoon retires from the session into the pits, he goes. Gaudio coming up to the line. And what time does he do? He doesn't improve, so P6 is the best he's going to do. It's all eyes on SK. As you can just see, he's got the Ferraris that are in his way, but they get out of the way pretty quickly for him. Now, SK, he's only joined 3 races ago. This is his 3rd race of the season, and this could be his opportunity to pick himself up his first pole position, as he's now just got this DRS section to go up towards the line. Does the Racing Point go onto pole position? No, he doesn't, and he does improve on his time, but it's 5 thousandths of a second behind Scope. So he does improve, but it's no position gained. That is the best he is going to do, and Jos, I think he's making his way into the pits as well. So that is all she wrote for qualifying. Malc, I think this is his 3rd race as well, and he's put it on pole position up ahead of our current championship leader. So a very, very good lap time from the Williams driver to put it on pole. In fact, it's 6.5 tenths up ahead of the championship leader. So Malc is just looking like he's in a league of his own. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this race is going to pan out. But here are your qualifying results for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Here you go. As I said, Malc 6.5 tenths up ahead of the championship leader of Scope. All he needs to do is finish 4th. That's all he's got to do, and so far he's on track for it. SK first into P3 with Lacquerate in fourth, Yoss in fifth, Gaudio in sixth, Matty into P7, Mags in eighth with Typhoon Unite. Faction did worm his way into the top 10, so a good work from both of the McLarens actually, and both of the Hasses into the top 10 as well. In 11th is Farnham. He gets his free choice of tyres, the same with Ruben in 12th, JGO in 13th, Crayon in 14th, MJ Coop in 15th, with Kenners in 16th, and then Plop in 17th as well. Both of the bottom two not getting themselves any valid times into their qualifying session. But I'm very intrigued to see how this one's going to end up, because like John's just said in the chat, if Scope crashes out on lap 1, then this race really is going to be turning its head. Because then you've got the likes of Malc, you've got the likes of SK, you've got the likes of Yoss, you've got the likes of Matty, Mags. One of these guys are going to pick up their first race wins. But again, that's all dependent on Scope. I think Scope might give the limelight to someone else for a change for tonight, but as I said, all he's got to do is just finish fourth. So knowing Scope, he's going to be playing it a bit easier than what he normally would do, just so then he knows he will take this title tonight. But we are just waiting for the go-ahead from one of the admins to be able to start the race for tonight. Of course, the strategies around here, they don't usually vary. It's usually just a soft to hard strategy. I think a few guys, if they wanted to start on the mediums, they could potentially get away with doing a medium to soft. It's very, very difficult, but it is definitely doable. But yeah, no, the easiest strategy to go on is definitely the hard to soft. Sorry, soft to hard or hard to soft. So I'm expecting to see a lot of that tonight. Either the guys that are outside of the top 10 go on a set of the hards, or a set of the soft tyres. So we shall wait and see. But as I said, I'll get that graphic up for you guys again, just so you have got it. As I said, all Scope needs to do is just finish 4th place. If he finishes 4th or 5th with the fastest lap, which is entirely doable, given Scope's pace around here. But yeah, all he's got to do is finish 5th. If he finishes 5th, then that's the championship. Sorry, 5th with the fastest lap, or 4th, then that's his championship. Well, that's the championship all done and dusted. Skyzy cannot win. It will be mathematically impossible for Skyzy to win that championship. And of course, with Skyzy unfortunately having that race ban tonight, it all lies on all of the other drivers on the grid to see if they are going to be the ones that will, well, finish ahead of Scope. But with this form that Scope's been on as of late, it's near. Well, I wouldn't say it's nearly virtually impossible, because all it takes is just one crash into a wall, and then that's that done. But I'm imagining that Scope is more than likely going to take this championship tonight. But it seems as if we are now getting into the race. We're just waiting now for everybody else on the grid to ready themselves up, and as soon as they have, then we can get this race straight underway. But make sure you guys put it in the comments and in the stream chat. Who do you think is going to be the top 3 in this race? I'm going to put my top 3. I'm going to say Merckx is going to take the win. I'm going to say Yoss will come second. And I think only reason why I'm saying that is because I think Scope is going to take it very easy, to the point where he's going to make sure he finishes in that top 4. But I think he's going to take that final podium position. I think Scope is going to take 3rd. And I think SK Fast is going to take 4th. But I suppose we will wait and see, as I'm just going to have a look at what the drivers outside of the top 10 are on. So let's have a look. Yeah, majority of people on a set of the hards. Plop, or Mr. Stim, has gone on a set of the mediums, and Kenners on a set of the softs. So yeah, as I said, you can see the strategy down at the bottom of your screen there. And yes, as I said, it's going to be all down to what these guys on the hards are going to do. Because of course they're going to go on the set of the softs towards the end of the race. That's a given. It just depends on how they get on the set of the hards at the beginning of this stint. Because like I said, around Baku, it's very, very tight and twisty. And all it takes is just for one thing to go wrong for one of these drivers, and then that's their race done. But guys that are on a set of the hards as well, if an early safety car comes out, then it could be over for them. But again, we will have to wait and see. But we are now just getting all of these drivers making their way up towards their grid spots so we can get this race underway. As I said, put it in the stream chat who you think is going to be in that top 3, maybe even top 4, top 5, can't decide it. But I think Malc, he's going to get his first IRL win. I think he's got the pace to do it. But as I said, it's also reliant on what Scope is going to do. As I said, this could be championship winning race for Scope. Let's keep our eye on it. So here we go. We have now got the 5 red lights. And it is lights out and away they go. As Scope getting a brilliant start off of the line compared to Malc. And same with, I believe that was Lacquerate Gaudio though. Got an absolutely amazing start. He goes up into 3rd position already. And Malc, he does manage to hold on to that 1st position as SK Fast and Gaudio both side by side. SK Fast moving himself back up into 3rd place. Gaudio down into 4th. Jos keeping that position in 5th. But he's very, very close to the side of Gaudio. And also Fashion jumping up into 6th place already as well, despite starting 10th. So both McLarens, a very, very good start. As Jos very, very wide. Oh, Fashion, a little bit of contact with Jos there. I don't think he's got himself any wing damage. I don't think Jos has got any wing damage either. But Malc, very, very good start from Scope, SK Fast, Gaudio, Fashion, and Jos. Lacquerate dropping himself quite a few places off of the start. Just did not get the start that he would have wanted. Typhoon moves himself up into 8th. Malc's in 9th of Kenners in 10th. Kenners started in P16 as SK Fast goes around at the castle section. And there's now a virtual safety car. I don't know what happened there, but Crayon, massive wing damage to him as well. Where is SK Fast? He's down an escape mode at the moment. So, virtual safety car, lap 1. Malc got the start that he wanted, and look at that, it's already a 2.5 second gap. As we're back racing once again, as Crayon has actually retired from the session. He's hit the wall. Like I said, it's going to be that wall that's going to take people by surprise. It's at that, he must have hit the bump. Straight into the side, and is now out of the session as Malc putting in the fastest lap of the race. Of course, he started in 1st, he still remains in 1st, so good start from both Malc and Scope. Scope already proving himself, just, well, and Malc as well, both of these guys, just how quick that they can be. The 2 McLarens as well have gotten quite a bit away from Jos. Jos seems to be holding up. Lacquerate is Lacquerate now trying to go down the inside of Jos in towards turn 3. Both going to have side by side. I think Jos is just going to give that one up. And Lacquerate into 5th position. Jos, I don't know what's happening with him. He's having a bit of a mare. And I was saying that his teammate's definitely having a bit of a mare. Whereas MJ Coupe, I think, just went a bit too deep into turn 3. And he's now down into 16th place. He's just had to let everybody go as well as SK Fast into the pits and coming out of the pits, and same with Matty. Matty must have picked himself up some wing damage early on as well. But Crayon, unfortunate for him, he has unfortunately retired from the session as Merck's starting to get a bit away from Scope now, looking at it. That gap almost about 7/10 of a second now. So Merck's doing a pretty good job so far of getting away from the Swede. It just looks as if he's looking a bit more comfortable when he goes through the castle section. More in towards Sector 2 is where he looks a lot more comfortable in comparison to the championship leader. Even coming through here, I think Scope's got the straight line advantage, but just looking at it, Merck just looks a lot more confident on this track. As Jos, I don't know what's happened to him. Oh, in fact, I do know what's happened to him. He's unfortunately hit the side wall on the long, tight and twisty straight as the two Ferraris are now both side by side. Kenners and Ruben. Ruben, of course, on a set of the hards. Kenners goes up into 8th position, so starting down in 16th. Already into 8th as Jos into the pits, of course, getting that wing changed. Kenners has had an absolute blinding start. I'll tell you what, one of the McLarens could be well on for a podium for tonight. Gaudio and Fashion in 3rd and 4th. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's going to be one of the first McLaren podiums of the season. But Gaudio, of course, as I said, still remaining in P3, Fashion in 4th with Lacquerate in 5th. Lacquerate now just gaining back on these guys. I think he's starting to find his feet a bit more with these soft tyres. Although I think these softs, they usually die off relatively quickly as Scope. 1.5 seconds now behind Merck already. As I said, I think Scope is trying to play this relatively safe. Because I'm just seeing he's just backing out of corners a lot more than what he usually would be. So yeah, I think Scope trying to play this as safe as he can to make sure that he does win this title tonight. And if it means dropping out of DRS for it, and I suppose that is what it means for him, as Gaudio very low on ERS now as Fashion. Now DRS is wide open for him. He's going to get his teammate now in towards turn 1 down the inside. He goes. Gaudio, I don't think this is just going to put up much of a fight, as I think that's the MJ Coupe. He's done the exact same thing as what his teammate has done, except on the other wall this time. So MJ, both teammates are just alike. MJ into the wall, massive bit of front wing damage on his right end plate, and he's now out as he's binned it into the pit lane, and there's now a full course safety car. I saw that one coming from a mile off. But I wasn't actually expecting that to happen, as Ruben, a 5-second penalty with his teammate for causing a collision. So that must have also what has caused that safety car. Is look at that, Ruben. Front right end plate damage, and that's massive damage. So that's his strategy all gone wrong. As Kenners also has damage. I'm assuming both of these Ferraris are going to be in at the end of this lap, but these guys that are on a set of the softs, they can already go onto a set of the hards if they wanted to. But that lead that Merck's had from the start, well, that's now just been depreciated. It was 2 seconds. It's now going to be down to about 3.5 tenths. But Fashion, the other FXR lad, he's done a very good job to put himself into P3 already as well. And he started down in 10th position. Gaudio, I think, started in 6th or 7th. And is into 4th. So they've both had... In fact, let's have a look at this. Yeah, so Fashion, 10th up into 3rd. Gaudio from 6th to 4th. Kenners, 16th to 8th position. And same with Plop, actually. Started at the back and is now into 11th position. As Merck into the pits, Scope into the pits, Fashion follows suit. Gaudio, he's trying to slow it down, so then he doesn't double stack with his teammate, but this is causing Lacquerate as well some pain as he just drives straight through him. Gaudio, a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as he tries to go back past Lacquerate. And I think that's well deserved, considering that he was just he was being slowed down by his teammate that much. Yeah. That was a little bit naughty from Gaudio, I must admit. But Mags, how has this happened then? Max has somehow managed to jump Lacray and Typhoon in the pit lane. Ooh. Dre Geo, so one of the only ones that started on a set of the hards. He's stayed out. He's damage free. In fact, let's have a look. As all of the guys that started on a set of the hards have gone on a set of the mediums. I don't know if that's the call, to be honest with you. I don't think that's the call at all. Yeah, I don't think that's the call. I think if it was... I would have stayed out personally. The guys that were on the hards, unless of course they had wing damage, I would have stayed out. I think the guys that have made up pit stops on the mediums, other than Ruben, because I saw he had massive damage, I think he's made a mistake with that. Unless they're going to be back in at the end of this lap to put on those hards again, I think this could very well be their race. I know the safety car very early on. It always happens like this. It always happens. Very unfortunate what's happened here. But Dre Geo, as I said, he's the only one that's actually stayed out on a set of the hards that he started on. Again, it was to be expected. Does anyone follow into the pits? It doesn't look as if they do. And then Matty and Kenners, I think they've got the safety car glitch where they keep on having to trade positions because it will say to one another to let each other go. So I'm not too sure who overtook who. It might have been Matty that overtook Kenners. And I think at the bottom left of your screen in a minute, you might see it pop up that Kenners is going to have a 5-second time penalty for it. Or maybe not. Maybe not. But everyone is basically just catching up to the pack. SK Fast is the last one that is just making his way back up to the pack from all of these guys as well. And I believe we will get racing once again straight after, well, once the safety car has come in, which I believe is going to be in this lap. So, yeah, once it hits the end of Sector 2, it will more than likely say that the safety car will be in this lap, and Malc is going to take us back through to the finish line to then restart this race. Dre Geo, by the way, can play a massive part into how Scope's result is going to be affected. So with Scope at the moment, he, as of course he's sitting in P3, he's being split by Dre Geo. So Dre really could be playing a massive part into this. As here we go. Yeah, safety car is in this lap. So let's see how Malc is going to play this one out. As of course you can just see the safety car on the minimap just driving his way back through. As he really is fully backing up this pack. But we'll wait to see when he does opt to go. And I believe he is more than likely going to go. He's gone. So Merckx, he's gone for it now. Dre Geo, a little bit. He did manage to keep up with it, but he got caught napping ever so slightly. But I think that's also had a bit of a Constantino effect further down the field as Gaudio. Look how close he is to the side of Typhoon. Now both going side by side in towards turn one. Who is going to have the advantage of this one? Typhoon, of course, going to be on the outside. A little bit of contact between the pair of them, but both kept it nice and clean. Typhoon swooping it around the outside, keeping that position for 7th place. As Malc already almost a second up ahead of Dre Geo. Scope hasn't been able to find a way through as of yet, and Fashion on those medium tyres, he's getting a little bit impatient being behind them, but he could have a very good chance of it, as Ken is a little bit of lag from him there. Drops behind Matty and Jos again, another Code Brown moment as him and Ploa both were side by side, but Jos luckily had ghosted, otherwise I think Ploa would have gone around there. But overall, a relatively clean start, of course, as Scope... Oh, Dre Geo, don't know what's happened to him there. He's just gone very, very deep into that corner. I don't know if he just let him through or what, but through the castle section, Dre Geo, yeah, he's dropped down into 4th place. Both Fashion and Scope going through. As I'm looking on Dre Geo's front left, I don't think he has got damage. Doesn't look as if he has, but regardless, I know he's on 6-lap hard, so he has just let them through. But look at that advantage that's already given Malc. 3.5 seconds, literally in 1 lap, is all it takes. Mag's now very close to the back of him. Oh, slight contact on the wall. I don't think he's got himself any damage. Doesn't look as if he has. But now, already side by side with Dre Geo, as Fashion and Scope still very close together as well. Fashion quite low on ERS just to stay up ahead of Scope. Scope does just back off. I think Scope really is wanting to win this championship tonight, so he is just playing this as cautious as he possibly can. Dre Geo losing that place to Mags, as Lacrate now all over the back of those guys, as well as Jos has retired from the session in the pit lane. I don't think Jos was just having the best race, and completely understandable. So no points for any of the Red Bulls tonight, and that's going to lose them out on the constructors quite massively, considering that the McLarens and the Haas are on for very good points tonight. Along with the Alfa Romeo as well, actually, I just want to point out, because Typhoon, he's sitting in 7th at the moment. Both Williams look like they're on for some decent points as well. I guess we'll keep our eye on it. We'll keep our eye on it. But as of right now, Lacquerate 5 attempts just sitting behind Dre Geo. Of course, Dre Geo still yet to make himself a pit stop. Everybody else has come in and made their stops. So Dre is just going to be dropping down that field pretty quickly, whilst everyone is trying to make their way through, as Ruben losing that position to SK Fast at the very back of the grid, as Mags very close to the back of Scope. Scope really is taking this one easy. And I don't think Scope's going to try and fight this one a bit too hard. I think Mags is just going to swoop through. But Scope needs to be careful because of how much time he's losing and how much he's going to need to make sure he's not going to get caught out throughout all of this. As Scope, of course, he's obviously going for that title fight for tonight. Oh, Typhoon, I think a bit of an audacious dive down the inside and getting caught. I think that was by Gaudio he got caught out by. Typhoon tried to move. I think Gaudio just had a bit more ahead of him, and unfortunately for him, he sent Typhoon round. As now SK Fast going down the inside, doing what Typhoon couldn't do. Both still side by side, but I think Fast has gotten that move done. He certainly has, and now he's got Typhoon's teammate just up ahead of him to try and get past. Just quickly sweeping through how everyone is at the moment. Fashion 4.5 seconds behind Malc, despite being on a softer compound of tyre. But he's also got Mags and Scope coming up all over the back of him. And now Lacquerate's joined the party as well. Scope, I know he's playing this cautiously, but he's playing this a bit too cautious to the point where he may not even win that championship tonight. If he's playing it as cautious as what it's looking like so far. Unless he really is messing with me and he's just going to try and like make a charge for the fastest lap at the end of the race. Which I can see is happening. But I'm also waiting for one of those medium runners to make their way into the pits as Pop and Kenner's trading places, and Matty very close as well to the back of Gaudio. Gaudio goes a bit wide, coming out of turn one as Pop goes round, and Kenner's I think went into the side of him as well. As there you go, Matty and Gaudio both still side by side. Matty tried to take the inside, Gaudio did leave him the room, but Gaudio going a bit defensive on the inside, does go back on towards the racing line. Matty now trying to go side by side here with Gaudio in towards turn 3. Gaudio tries to hold it around the outside. Matty does leave him the room, both still side by side going in towards turn 4. Now Gaudio tries to just absolutely lunge it up the inside to make sure he closes that door and keep that position, as SK Fast going around a little bit there now as well. But who was that? Kenners that went into the side of him? It looked like it was. Yeah, Kenners got quite a bit of damage, and Farnham I believe might also have damage as well, because Typhoon's just swooping past him. No, it doesn't look as if he has. It doesn't look like it. But yeah, Kenners, you can see both end plates are damaged, and SK Fast, I think he was expecting Kenners to go a lot quicker than what he just was through there, so he's now being costed a lot of time because of the Ferrari with that wing damage up ahead. But going on board here, this battle for 6th place. Gaudio, a little bit of oversteer on that exit, but he's caught right up to the back of Dre Gio, and I believe this is probably going to be a move done, quite an easy move done for the McLaren going through that DRS straight. And it's also going to be if Matty's going to be able to do that, as Matty very close to the back of him as well as Gaudio. Oh, bit of oversteer moment. Matty now around the outside, and now he's going to have that DRS on Dre Gio. Dre Gio just in the middle of all of this as well. Gaudio, there's not much he's going to be able to do. Gaudio, I think, just try to swoop it around the outside as Fat Dre Gio. He's gone into the pits. And now Typhoon and SK Fast both close together as well, both side by side. Typhoon trying to hold it around the outside as he's still keeping to that outside line. I know it can be a bit easier to overtake around the outside, especially in towards turn 1. A bit of contact between the pair of them, but they're still both side by side. SK Fast holding it down the inside, but Typhoon, I think, was the one that picked up that DRS. He certainly was. So SK, he's going to need to try and use his overtake as much as he can and to keep up in a straight line. He's doing a very good job of that. Dives it down the inside, does the racing point, and into the wall he goes. SK Fast just broke, well, very much outbroke himself. Into the wall he goes, and wing damage for him. Not what he would have wanted to happen. But now Mags into that podium position, I've just realised. I know Scope did, like, he got passed by Scope, but Lacquerate also very close to the back of him. But I thought it was Matty that was into the podium, not Mags. Mags is in for a very good position tonight as SK Fast now into the castle section. Outbreaking himself once again. It's just gone from bad to worse for the Racing Point driver. But this battle for 3rd is what we're really looking at. Scope, I said he didn't want to try and risk anything. Well, he's risking at the moment of losing out that place to Lacquerate, as SK Fast once again into the wall. But Scope, he's doing enough just to make sure he wins that championship. Of course, as I said, Lacquerate is all over the back of him on a fresher compounder tyre. I won't be surprised if I see Lacquerate try and go for a very daring move very, very soon once he is close enough to the back of Scope to do so. There's a few position changes going up and down the field. Ruben and Kenneth, both of the Ferraris once again just trading places. Kenneth's on a fresh set of mediums. As SK Fast into the pits he goes, and out of the race he also goes. So very unfortunate for the Racing Point driver. Only one now remains, and that is Plow Up, and he could be on for scoring his first set of points of the season, because we're just about to hit the halfway mark into the race. As Lacquerate going very, very wide there. Just keeping an eye on the stream, just making sure that everything is still okay. It's looking like it's all okay at the moment. course, if you are only just joining us into the stream as well, you can see you're not dreaming that our current championship leader is the one that is sitting in 4th and is about to be overtaken by Lacquerate. DRS is now wide open for both Lacquerate and for Scope. Scope is starting to run out of ERS himself. He realised that he's been trying to play a bit too cautious to the point where Lacquerate could be very well in of overtaking him, and now Scope, he's managed to gain himself another life. He's kept in that P4 position. However, both him and Lacquerate, of course, are going to have that DRS wide open. Max, no DRS for him. Scope is just maintaining that 4th position at the moment. And also, I know we've got the battle going on for 6th place between Matty and Gaudio. Of course, those guys have been with each other for the majority of the race already. But this battle for 3rd is where it is really, really close. And at the moment, Scope just holding his own up ahead of Lacquerate. Matty almost, Mags, actually, in fact, I was about to say almost went into the wall. This time he did. So Mags, unfortunately, has now got himself down front right end plate damage. And now Scope, all over the back of him. He needs to be careful of Mags just up ahead of him, because if he tries and still does what he's doing at the moment, Lacquerate will get past. Let's see, is Mags going into the pits? He is indeed. So Mags into the pits, probably going on a fresh set of medium tyres. He won't be able to take the softs to the end, but Scope is in the position that he wants to be in. He's sitting in P3. 3.5 seconds down the road is fashion, of course, but Scope, he's now really going to need to get a move on if he doesn't want to get overtaken by Lacquerate. He won't have any DRS, Lacquerate will, and with this being quite a long straight towards turn 3, Scope could be under a world of pressure, but at the moment it's looking like he is safe from Lacquerate. It's just when it comes in towards that DRS zone before the start finish line is where Scope could be under quite a bit of pressure. At the moment though, it just doesn't look like Scope's very comfortable with just going through the castle section in comparison to what other drivers are. I don't know if it's because he's playing that cautious to make sure he doesn't crash there, or he genuinely isn't confident going through there and is just making sure he doesn't hit the wall. A little bit wide goes Lacquerate, coming onto what I like to call is probably the final corner. Even though this up here is the final corner. Scope, I think he's about to lose out of place to Lacquerate. DRS is now going to be open, and before DRS is even open, he's almost side by side with him. And yeah, there you go. Scope down into P4. Lacquerate up into 3rd position. And now we're just going to start to see a few gaps just extending out from everyone at the moment. Dre Geo keeping up to the back of Kenners. Of course, both of these guys made their pit stops about 3 laps ago. So just keeping an eye on everybody else's gaps now, as everyone has, as I said, they've started to fan out. And we'll wait and see who is going to be finishing where. Scope, he's in the position to win this championship tonight. And it's looking like that's exactly where he is going to be finishing. Mags, by the way, came in, he put on a fresh set of medium tyres. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick look through the penalties because I don't think there is too many that has gone out for today. So Malc hasn't got any. Fashion, none at all. Lacrate has 2 warnings, or I think one of them might be a collision. Scope has just the 1 warning. 2 warnings for Matty. Gaudio, 5-second pen, which I think he's served. Typhoon. I think that's just the 1 warning. Farnham, 1 warning. Blow up, 2 warnings. Mags, 2 warnings. As Ruben. He's retired from the session. Oh my god, this has now brought this a lot closer. Safety car out. Oh my goodness. Okay, I was not expecting that as Lacrate's lagged out of the session. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. I'm very intrigued to see what everyone's going to do. Kenners has already made his way into the pits and coming out of the pits now on a fresh set of medium tyres. Of course, you can see that yellow dot that's just waiting there at turn 2. It is the safety car. Kenners will be allowed to pass that. But our current race leader, a Kane, another one of those gaps that he had a massive advantage to, is now just going to be dropped. But Fashion is the one that's sitting in 2nd place. I think this is actually a very good thing for Fashion and for Lacrate, because both of those guys on a set of their mediums, it would have been very, very tight to try and take those to the end of the race. Of course, 10 laps left to go. That would have meant 20 laps on those medium tyres. Which is very, very hard to do. But here we go. Into the pits. Yeah, marked. Set of mediums. Fashion into the pits. Lacrate into the pits. Scope into the pits. Matty into the pits. Gaudio into the pits. Typhoon. Yeah, straight into the pits. I'm assuming Farnham is also probably going to make his way into the pits. And I'm also assuming the Plop is also going to make his way into the pits as well. Yeah, it looks like everybody, other than Mags, because he already made his pit stop, are into the pits. And Mags, where's he actually going to come out in all of this? Is he ahead of his teammate? He's just behind his teammate. Ooh, I think Max is going to be annoyed with that, but there's not much that he can really do. Scope, by the way, set of softs. Now that is bold. Ruben putting it in the chat once again, made it interesting. Overtake mode through those fast last 2 corners on cold hards, isn't it, Chief? Nah, it definitely isn't. It definitely isn't. But Obviously, quite a lot of people have all caught up to the safety car already. Lacquerate needs to rejoin before his safety car ends or race over. So yeah, Lacquerate, yeah, I completely forgot about him. I forgot he ended up disconnecting from the session, and he's sitting in third position. If he's not in before the safety car comes in, then Scope will go up into third position. I think he'll go up anyway, but Lacquerate won't get any points even if he finishes in the top 10 with his Ghost. But this really has absolutely shaken things up as Kenners. I didn't realise he went back into the pits and he's chucked on a fresh set of soft tyres. But yeah, safety car's still not in this lap unless, in fact it is. It just calls it a little bit later on because I think Kenners is just coming up to the back of the pack now. So let's have a look. Merckx, is he going to do one of those starts again where he's going to go, yep, right about now. He's done the exact same thing as what he did last time, and this time Fashion is the one that's actually caught himself out from it, but he's just weaving a little bit to make sure he gets out of that slipstream. But Kenners, he's got on a very good start off of that. He's side by side with Plop. It's Plop into the pits. Because he's chucked on a set of hards as Scope and Lacquerate. Yeah, Scope's gotten past Lacquerate. Lacquerate not in the session. Matty now past him as well. So Scope, once again, he can afford to just take it a little bit easier as they go. Mags past him. Gaudio, I'm assuming, is also probably going to be the next one past him. But this race for third place, once again, is where it's heating up. And this time, it's not just Scope and Mags. This time, Mags' teammates involved in this. You can already see Merckx already pushing himself up 1 second up ahead of Fashion, but Fashion does still remain in that second place position. Everyone looking like they're getting through Castle perfectly fine. So that's good to see from everybody there. But yeah, Typhoon's obviously, of course, going to get past Lacquerate's Ghost. So that's moved done for Typhoon into 7th place. Now the Ozone Man. I think no, this isn't going to be. I don't think this will be a special result yet. But Merckx fastest lap of the race so far, even from that safety car restart, which is very interesting to see. But I'm sure that's about to be beaten anyway from this lap. Stray Geo, 9th, Ghost of Lacquerate into 10th. Kenners is only just behind that as well, and I think that's why MJ Coop said that the race is going to be over for him. Because the Ghost of Lacquerate is now down into 11th place. Very, very unfortunate for him, as he's not going to have any more. Yeah, Lacquerate, he's only just joined, just when just as he moves down into 11th place. So very, very unfortunate for him. But Scope, he's only 5 tenths behind Fashion. As I said, Scope isn't going to want to try anything, because he's just wanting to win this title tonight, and then that's that done for him. However, I won't be surprised if I see Scope try and go for something on the McLaren, as for some reason all the times have disappeared. But just judging by where Malc and Fashion are from each other, it's about 1.5 seconds. I'm thinking from Malc to Fashion. Yeah, 1.5. Scoped very, very close to DRS as well. In fact, he will have DRS, and so will Matty. Mags is just losing out to that as well. And there seems to be a bit of a train that's going on here behind Farnham. I'm just trying to go over to it. So have a look at this. Dre, Geo, Farnham and Kenneth. Farnham using all of his ERS. Dre, Geo now trying to go down the inside of Farnham in towards turn 3. They're both side by side. Farnham locks up massively. Kenneth getting held up a little bit behind these guys. And now, yeah. Oh, I think Kenneth did go into the back of him, I think. He did. He's got massive front end plate damage now. And now Lacquerate, because he's back in the session, swooping it around the outside and down the inside of Farnham. Despite what Farnham having that wing damage, that was a very, very good move from Lacquerate. I think Lacquerate, I think his race might have just been saved by those, by what just happened with those two. Kenner's even further into the wall. Massive damage from the Ferrari, and I think that's race over for the Ferrari. Both Ferraris, once again, well, not once again, I think for the first time, I don't think they're going to be picking themselves up any points. And there's a virtual safety car because Kenners has actually binned it. So Matty, he was going to have that DRS on Scope. Scope, no DRS, and it's looking very, very grey. Are we going to be seeing rain? Because it's looking more and more likely, come towards the end of the race, that we are going to be seeing some rain. But, yeah, virtual safety car has now ended. Matty actually has DRS on Scope because he was under a second behind him in towards turn 4. In towards turn 2, sorry, not 4. And now Matty, so close to the back of our championship leader. 5 more laps to go and we can crown Scope as the first champion on PC for Invictus. But there is a bit of another battle that's also starting to go up as Dre Geo into the wall at the castle section. So another one that's fallen victim of that, and Lacquerate, he's now into 8th place. What could have been for this Williams driver if he didn't have, or if his game unfortunately did not crash on him. Gaudio, by the way, I just want to say, is on an absolute flyer. I don't think any of these guys have got 3-second time penalties. And Mags just grazing that wall. He keeps on doing that, and I'm not too sure if that's giving him a bit more of an advantage or not. I don't think it will be, because at one point I'm expecting him to break his wing just from doing that alone. But Gaudio down the inside of Mags. I think that's a nice easy move done for the McLaren. Yep, straight into 5th place. Mags has to settle for 6th, but he will have that DRS going in towards turn 3. So Mags could be on for a bit more of a a bit more of a comeback on him, as DRS is now going to be open for the Haas driver. But both him and both Mags and Gaudio are both struggling with ERS, so I don't think Mags is going to be able to get a move done on Gaudio, but we've still got this battle here for second place. Fashion, Scope and Matty. 4 more laps to go, and Scope, the champion, is his. As there are more yellow flags, I think Dre Gio into the pits he goes. I think he must have hit the wall on the entrance to the pit lane, which is why there were those yellow flags that were showing. So a bit of interesting information. So Scope will be a 4-time IRL champion, which is equal with, ironically, his teammate Skyzy with 3 on, Scope had 3 on PS4. This will be his 4th championship. So both of the Renaults will then have 4 champions in IRL to their name. Of course, this being the first on PC. So this is where things are going to get a bit more interesting. Scope, 4 attempts behind Fashion. Is he maybe now going to try and put a bit more of a shift in to move his way up in the standings? As Scope, 3 attempts behind Fashion. Fashion low on ERS, but Scope also quite a bit low on ERS as well. DRS now wide open for the Renault. Are we going to be seeing any moves attempted into turn 3? I don't think he's close enough. I think Fashion has just gotten as much away as he can. So he is safe from the Renault. But you know what? We'll ride on board with Scope. In fact, no, you know what? Mags and Typhoon are in a little bit of a battle going on just behind them. So we'll ride on board with Typhoon. Or we'll ride in the broadcast cam with Typhoon. As he's putting a bit of pressure under Mags. Mags was having a magnificent race earlier. No pun intended. Just unfortunate with what had happened earlier, where he went into the castle section. He was keeping Scope behind him for the longest time, and yeah, obviously with him picking up that wing damage, it's just unfortunate because it's now dropped him down into 6th position, and it's now 2.5 seconds behind Gaudio. And you know what? I'm giving out a driver of the day nomination quite early. I think Malc, 3.5 seconds, which is almost 4 seconds now ahead of Fashion. I know Scopes is only doing this to try and win that championship tonight, but his pace has been absolutely insane. If there were no safety cars, added up all the times that he had before those 2 safety cars, he'd be about 15 seconds in the lead right now. Up ahead of Fashion, up ahead of Scopes, up ahead of Matty. And especially for his 3rd race in Invictus, absolutely amazing for what he has done, without a doubt, absolutely amazing. But this battle for 7th place is still going on. Mag's very low on ERS, Typhoon also pretty low on ERS as they're making their way in towards turn 3. Both will have, both won't have DRS. Mag's under pressure from Typhoon. Typhoon with the DRS now wide open. He's not using his ERS. I think he's just staying behind him. As a bit of lag from Typhoon's side. It's going to cost him that move on Mags. I'll tell you what, we're going to ride on board with Malc because, as I said, he's driven an absolute stellar race throughout the entirety of the entirety of today. Stone's just putting in a chat, fuck me, so Scope and Sky are Vettel Hamilton's partnership. Basically are, yes. They basically are. I didn't catch it. Mags into the wall. He's got no front wing at all. So I don't know if there's any contact with him and Typhoon. Typhoon doesn't look as if he's got any wing damage himself, but Lacrate now all over the back of Typhoon. And now Farnham got past Mags, but Mags somehow is coming back at him as Plop has gone round. But Mags into the wall and out of the race goes Mags. Oh my god. As soon as I saw him trying to go side by side of him, I saw that was happening. Here we go, Scope now into P2, and he is going to make sure he solidifies this one. I think he's going for the fastest lap as well. But final lap of the race, we're going to ride off board with Malc still, as he has had an absolute stellar race as Lacrate going past Typhoon for P6 in the end. Lacrate, he's done well to get himself back up into some good points. But Malc, I think he's been a bit shadowed over through this race because of the fact that Scope is about to win this the championship, and I think the fact that everybody else has just been having such an amazing race throughout tonight as well. I think he's just been a bit overshadowed, but that's what I'm saying. I think he is definitely going to be the driver of the day. Now, 2 more sectors to go until Malc will take the win and Scope will take the championship. And as I said, I think Scope is really going for it. I think he really is trying to get that fastest lap point as well, just to make sure, just to show that he can get it. But Drejia is also on those fresh set of softs, so he could be putting a bit of a damper on it. But Malc, he's driven an absolute stellar race. As I said, it's his 3rd race in Invictus, and if he would have been in this at the beginning of the season, I'd be very, very interested to see how he would have been doing in this championship, because he would have been up there fighting with the likes of Matty, Podium Cheater, and maybe fighting with those 2 Renaults. But he's done so well. 3rd race of the season for him, and he is now along the back straight. Malc, he will take the win for tonight in Baku. Congratulations to him. But Scoped, he's had, I'm just looking at how many victories he has had throughout his PC championship. He has had 6 victories, 9 podiums in total. 8 podiums out of 9 races in total. Scope Fielder will take the Invictus PC Championship. Very much congratulations in order to the Swedish man, as he takes that first PC championship, Drivers' Championship with him. And he is the first ever driver in Invictus to win on both platforms a Drivers' Championship. And also another stat as well, it's Scope's 31st Invictus win as well, which is the new Invictus record. Again, I think that was just beaten by, or from his teammate of Skyzy. So Scope, he's doing a bit of a Lewis Hamilton here. He's now breaking records and just absolutely exceeding them. But that was all she wrote for Baku. Scope, he will take that championship for tonight. But like I said, tonight marked very, very good race from him. Not a fault wrong, and I don't think he was even anywhere below 1st place. I think he literally kept 1st throughout that entire race. He drove an absolute stellar race. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he might have gotten the fastest lap. If he did, he literally got the full sweep for tonight. Let's have a look. Did he? No, he didn't. Plop actually picks up the fastest lap, but there you go. Malc, he takes the victory for tonight. But, of course, Scope, he finishes 2nd place. He done what he needed to do. He is the PC Invictus Drivers Champion. It's very unfortunate that Skyzy, of course, had that race ban for tonight, but there's not much more he could have done. Skyzy has been very, very unlucky throughout the season, but if he didn't do what he did last week in Hungary, I think that championship fight would have still been on. But Scope, he does finish in 2nd and taking that championship with him. Fashion does finish in 3rd. I think 1st podium for the McLarens tonight as well. Very good finish for Fashion. Again, another one that's been shadowed from 10th to 3rd. Very good finish from him. Matty in 4th. Gaudio in 5th. Typhoon in 6th. Lacquerate in 7th. Farnham in 8th. Plop in 9th. Dre Geo in 10th. Picking up that final point. Mags, unfortunate DNF from where he had that. I'm assuming he may have had a collision with Typhoon, which is why he lost all of his wing. But I mean, I was, again, another ending that was just an absolute amazing ending. Again, it was looking like it was going to be one of those races where it was just going to be another typical Baku race where at the beginning, a lot of fights, middle, bit dull, and then at the end it was just going to be, you know, Scope Championship, but blah, wow, bloody hell. Bloody hell. That's all I can say. But Scope, he takes the championship. If Scope is on the live stream, if he maybe want to do a bit of an interview, if he's in a live stream. If not, then no problems at all. I'm just looking in the Discord chat now to see if he's wanting to. But if not, then of course it's entirely up to him. Yeah, I don't think I don't think he is going to come up for an interview, but nonetheless, Scope is a massive congratulations to him. Someone saying in the chat, do we call Scope the GOAT now? I think we do. I think we've got to now. He's beaten the records for the amount of wins in Invictus. He's now tied equal the most amount of drivers' championships in Invictus. I don't think there's anything else that we can call him other than the GOAT. So Scope takes the drivers' championship. Once again, no, it is a massive congratulations to him, and congratulations to Malc as well for taking the win for tonight around Baku. Absolute dominant win from him. Thank you to everybody that was watching the stream for tonight, and of course we will catch you guys next week for the penultimate round of Russia. Make sure you guys are tuning in for that one, because the championship for all of the other drivers is not over yet. So make sure you tune in. But take care, and I'll see you guys next week.